And a good day to anyone who's going to be able to watch this video. Again, this is this is the Belated Reviewer, and as you can see, I'm going to share with you two of my DC Multiverse figures. These figures are, of course, by McFarlane Toys, and we're going to do a bit. Well, as you see, we have Azrael in his Suit of Sorrows version, the White Templar suit, and we also have Batman. Well, his version from the Dark Knights of Steel. Now, when Azrael first came out in this version, I was already thinking that I have to get this figure simply because he would go so well with my Mythic Legions figures. And then I did read somewhere that there was this like special story that was published by DC Comics where they made their characters be in a Game of Thrones setting. And ironically for this video, or I don't know if it's ironic is the word, I'm using a Game of Thrones stand. So I do have some Game of Thrones figures. Well, they're quite the older ones. And probably I'll do a bit, I'll share them with you as well in the near future. But for now, we are going to take a look at, again, Azrael in his Suit of Sorrows, White Templar edition something, and Batman as he was in the Dark Knights of Steel story arc, or story. Now, I'm just going to show you, let's start with first accessories for the two figures. And if you're going to ask me about the height, they're approximately around 7 inches. This is because McFarlane Toys opted for the 7-inch scale measurements for their take on the DC multiverse of characters. Alright, so let's first take a look at what we have for Azrael. He does have his, and by the way, each of these figures, they do come with a stand and card, but that's not much for collectors. And the stand is actually almost the same. I think it's the same as the Game of Thrones stand, except that it has the DC logo stamped on it. And I think it's, well, this one is like smooth and like glossy finish for the stands, if you could take a look at it for the Game of Thrones stands. The DC Multiverse is a bit, I think it's around, like it's about being matte black. Anyway, so here is the sword for Azrael. And if you look closely, I think there's a some guy in a crucified position. I think that's Jesus or something. And yeah, pretty much a straightforward paint job. The only accent on it would be the gold on the pommel. But one thing I really appreciate about this sword that Azrael came in with is that it's not flimsy. It's more rigid, as I'll show you later with Batman's sword. And the sculpting is nice. The great thing about this one is, since it's mostly in its default color, the material, it's in silver, then you can actually customize it with paint. You can paint it for yourself, probably add some gold accents to the cross guard, and make the blade a little bit more silver, stuff like that. Okay. And you're also wondering, what's the translucent yellow thing? This is the flame effect for the sword of Azrael. There we go. It's very nice. And I think recently you would see this same same type of effect on the NECA figure. I believe it's for their Dungeons and Dragons Warduke. He also has a flaming sword, and again for that figure, which I will get to hopefully in the near future, has the same mechanics for how the effects are used. Now for Batman, as you can see, this is supposed to be a straight bladed two-edged sword or long sword, but it's warped. I mean, the sculpting is fine. I really love what they did with the handle. Take a good look at that. Gold paint is nice. Other side. But despite the painting and the very good execution of the handle, crossguard and everything, the blade itself is, look, very soft. I don't know if this is like a safety issue that they need to meet, that the blade should be or should not be so pointy. But a little warm water should sort this one out. Just dip it in warm water for a bit and then you can straighten it out, which I haven't done yet, but I'm planning to. Okay, so we've got the accessories down. Let's take a look. Articulation. You should stick around for part 2, of course. Yeah, you know my format. If you've been following me doing these reviews, if you would still call them a review, is that I usually have a 2-part format for my figures. One format, you've got my boring voice in the background talking about the figures, and the second format would be the figures in poses that I can think of, just to show the articulation. Okay, so for this video at least, we'll take a look at the sculpt. Let's start with the head. Now this is a bit different from one version of Azrael in this paint scheme. There's I don't know who did that. Was it NEC? I believe they did it for the Arkham Knights. But for a McFarlane toy, and actually this is one of my favorite figures, it's actually very good. The details, just look at that armor. And the side, yep. And let's take a look at the back. Yep, there are some details here that are very good. And they opted for him to have these like stylized wings, I don't know, or instead of a cape they had this one on him. So it's a double jointed knee, you can see that. One nitpick that I have about this figure is, or rather are the shoes. They should have made those shoes like armor, not leather half boots or high cut shoes. And they have toe articulation, of course. And this flap, it's soft rubber, as well as the skirting on the back. Soft rubber, it won't hinder his articulation too much. And there. Yep, very nice figure. Okay. So much for Azrael. Oh, and when I usually play with Azrael, if I do have my Mythic Legions out, I usually, yeah, as I have said earlier, I got this version of Azrael because, in my head, perfect mix for Mythic Legions or any medieval setting scene that you would want to do. Now, let's take a look at Batman from the Dark Knights of Steel. Let's start with the head. Pretty nice. There you can see the eyes there. He has a black armored helmet I wish there was an alternate helmet or portrait where it's a full-on armor. And the actual color for this one from the comics, this is not actually 100% comic accurate as far as the colors will be concerned, because in the comics, Batman's helmet and the rest of his chainmail under the silver armor, it's supposed to be in black. The cape should also be in black, but this one comes in sort of a blue-gray tint, or tinge of blue. Yeah, it's a sort of blue-gray. But the sculpting is, again, top-notch. Just take a look at the chest, and they've added some battle damage already to his armor, also to his helm. You can see that battle damage everywhere. Well, not really everywhere, but in choice parts. Pauldrons also showing that battle damage effect. Gauntlets, oh, how nice. Yep, enjoy that. Come on, focus for me. There we go. Skirting has that worn look with holes as well. The shoes. Okay. So let me see if I can get this in a better light. Yeah, the shoes. This should have also been in black, or should have matched the leg armor. Okay, there's his cape. Yep. He also has a scabbard for his sword on his back. There, see? And look at the details there. Oh, even on the back, even if it's hidden by the cape, they've paid so much attention to the detail to show that Batman is battle seasoned. Yep. And there you go. And as you can see, since they're of course from the Multiverse, DC Multiverse by McFarlane, their height goes well together. They're actually almost the same height. Now, for this video at least, let me just do a quick comparison with, let me get two figures, or probably just one. Okay, so there you have it. That's going to be, it's not an original Kratos Ares armor body, and I believe in my last video I think I shared this one, this head swap I did using a third-party Masters of the Universe He-Man Origins head. There you can see, even with this head swap figure, even with its knees bending, actually, it still is taller than these two. And they patterned this, of course, of the NECA version for God of War, for Kratos. So that's how it will look with probably something in the 8 to 9 inch scale or size. And of course, let's see how they look. Let's see how they will look with something a bit oversized. Yep, talk about oversized. Okay, that's how they would look against probably a 12-inch megafig. McFarlane does megafigs, 12 inches scale. Of course, this one, the one I use, is not a megafigure. This is a Surtur. but it's a Marvel Legends from Thor Ragnarok. And that's how they would be looking compared to Surtur. Oh, yeah. Just to satisfy your curiosity, probably, this is how you use the flame effect. And out of the box, it actually comes, the flame effect's already attached to the sword. See? Makes it a whole lot cooler. Alright. So that's going to be Batman and Azrael. From the DC Multiverse line. Azrael was released first a couple of, I think 1 or 2 years back. Batman is a recent release, a more recent release from the Dark Knights of Steel. Oh. Alright, and I'll be posting, of course, the second part of the video. Just keep your eye out for it. Again, this is the Belated Reviewer, and you guys have a good one. Take care of yourselves and your health. Keep your mad hats on. Peace out.